then we will continue what we have learned. Okay, so let me just share my screen. So we are going to learn a very important skill in all the programming languages. And this skill is called a method. If you learn the Python, we also say function. And when you say method, usually it is in a class. And when you say function, usually it's an independent method. So, so in Java, you do not have an independent function. All the methods, all the functions are in a class. So it's a method, okay? We can, do, we can call it a function or method exchangeable, but it really means the method is a function in the class. All right, so what is a method? It is a block of code that performs certain actions, which only runs when it is called. So if you put a Java code, I think Java is better. The reason is that all the code are in the class. It does not get run once you call it, the class. But for Python, if you do Python, the system will execute from top to the bottom. If your code does not stay in a method or in a function, then it goes through it and it will execute it. And that's not what we want, right? So that's why we create a function. So method provides a way to reuse code. So you can call it again. So this block, it achieves a goal, and you can use it again, just like what we do addition. You just need two numbers, and then you call that function using these two numbers. Okay, so you define it once, but use it many times. You can pass data, and then known as parameters, into a method. Methods are bounded to a class, and they define the behavior of a class. So when we talk about a class, then there's a behavior, there's a state. State is the property, okay? Behavior is the method. All right, so let's move on. A method must be declared within a class in Java, okay? It is defined with the name of the method followed by parentheses. Now let's go to our Eclipse and see an example which we used to learn loop. Okay, what's the example? So this is the example. Okay, you see here, main is the name of the method. Okay, it's the name of the method. And then let me come back to Eclipse. You see here is the name of the method. It's called main, and then followed by a parenthesis. Okay, by the parenthesis. In the parenthesis, you can have one or have zero or more parameters. Now you see here the args is a parameter, and what is args? It is a string array. It is a string array. Okay, that's a method. Then here the method name is main. What is the rest of the line? Public, static, void, main. Okay, and then rest. All right, so let's learn it one by one. We know this, right? The brace, the curly brace defines the beginning of the main method body. And this one just close it. Defines the ending of the method body. So this is a block for the method. It's a code block, okay? They both together tell the system this is the main method block, okay? The method name is main, right? So what has a rest? So in general, a method has 6 components. So what are the 6 components? First one is modify. What does modify do? It defines access type of the method. It means where can it be accessed in your application. There are 4 types of them, and then you come to say public, 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 right? Public, public, public. So those are all the modifiers. There are 4 different modifiers. Public, accessible in all class in your application. So anything that you define as public, it's accessible to all your classes, all your applications, okay? If it is called protected, I wanted to get Alex to read this for me. Alex Song. Do I have Alex here?
Accessible to only accessible only by the subclasses in other package or any class within the package of the protected members class.
All right. So if you use protected, okay, you cannot make the main method protected, okay? But for those, if it's protected, only, okay, you see I have a package here. The package called com.aoe.stem, right? So only the classes in this package can call it, can use it, okay? So you see accessible only by the subclasses in other packages or any classes within the package of the protected members class. So subclass, we will talk about that probably 2 or 3 weeks away. So you have one class, then you can create a child. The child is called a subclass. And the subclass can access the protected method. Okay? So what does it mean? So I have a package here called com.aoe.stem. Then I have a class called grass cell. Then I have another package. I have another class, and I created that class as a child of grass cell. Then that child can access this method if it is protected. Only in these 2 situations. Only these 2 situations, okay? And then there is another one called private. Private accessible only within the class in which it is defined. So if you change this to private, it can only be used within this class. Okay? You cannot use it other way. It's only available to this class if it's a private method. Okay, this is a default one. So if you do not give it a modifier, okay? If you do not give it, it is only accessible within same class and the package within which this class is defined. So it's not the same as protected. Protected, you can access it from the subclass. And if you use default, it's only accessible within this class and within this package. Okay, so there's a difference there. So now I hope this makes sense. Why do I put a public here? Because if you make a public here, so other classes can call it. They can call this method, right? They can use this one. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. And then we see they have 6 components. We have only talked about one of it. All right, the second one is called a return type. The data type of the value returned by the method or void if it does not return a value. Okay, you see here, I have a method. The return type is integer. That means this function or this method will return an integer. It will return an integer, okay? And you see this one is the void. It does not return anything. Main method is void because that's the entry. That is the entry to the execution of your class, right? So it does not return anything to anyone else. No, because nobody can receive it. That's the entry point, okay? So that's why it is a void. So that's the second component, right? The third one is a method name. There can only be a single word, should not have any space in it. Okay? That's the third component, like a main, that's the name. And then the parameter list. Parameter list is a comma separated list of the input parameters preceded with the data type within the enclosed parentheses. If there are no parameters, you must use empty parentheses. Okay, so you see here the input type, the parameter input type is in a string array. And here is a string. Okay, and you can have multiple. You see, here is a double and a double. Okay? So that's a parameter list. Okay, and then the fifth component is the exceptional list. And you see in our method, I do not have much exception list, but I do have some. And I give you this example here. You see the throws exception. Okay, throws exception. So that's this one. You can throw exception here. It's in an exception list. You can throw more than one exception. Okay, so that's why we see it's an exception list there. So your method may throw different types of exceptions. So you need to define there. And the last one, 6 components, the last one is the method body. It is enclosed between the braces. So the code you need to be executed to perform your intended operation. Okay. So to make it clear, I have a diagram here. There's the public int max. Max is the method name. And this is the parameter list. And this is the body. We do not have the exception list here in the diagram, but I really want you guys to remember there are 6 components. Okay? There are 6 components when you create a method, right? Let me post here. Is it clear to you, everyone?
Wait, what does static mean?
Right, that's a very good question. We don't have that in the Python, but it is a very important concept. I will spend some time to talk about that. Right, so let me share my screen. Thank you, Claire, for your question. Right, so a method has a signature. The method signature consists of the method name and the parameter list. So when we talk about the parameter list, so what matters? These things matters. How many parameters do you have? What are the types of the parameter? And the order of the parameters. If you change anything in these 3, it is a different signature. That means it's a different method. And I will show you the example, okay? And it's very popular, very common, and it is very powerful, all right? The return type and exceptions are not considered as part of the method signature. So the method signature only has 2 things: the name, the parameter list. And the parameter list, 3 things to consider. How many parameters? What are the types of the parameters? And what is the order of the parameters? Anything change, it's a different signature. So this is an example of the method signature of a above function in the diagram. So max, that's the name. And this is a parameter list. This is the parameter list. Okay. This. All right. And then let me show you the example. Can you all go to Google? And then type in Java string. Okay. You can click on either one of those. It should be okay, because it does not change between these versions. And if you scroll down, I want you guys to take a look at the constructors. Okay. You see this is all the constructors. You see the name is the same. They are all string, but you see this one does not have parameter. This one has 1 parameter. This one has 2 parameters. This one has 3 parameters. And they have different parameters and a different type of parameters. So that's why they are valid. They are valid. You see here string buffer, string build. There are only 1 parameter, but there are 2 different methods. Because the signature are different. So whatever it is, it looks like, this kind of a phenomena we call method overload. It is called a method overload. Same method name. different parameter lists. It's called a method overload. And you should see others here as well. Okay, you see, let me just give you some examples. You see content equals. The name is exactly the same, but the parameter type are different. You see, copy value of, right? So these are all overloaded method. They are all overloaded method. All right, so there's another concept here when you do AP computer science test. So the parameter here in the name, in the method name, is called a formal parameter. When the value passes in and you use in your function, that is called an actual parameter. That's the actual value passing in. It's the actual one. And put it into the name, that's the formal one. So what does it mean? Okay. So you see X here is an actual parameter. If you say X equal to 3 and put X here, 3. And then 3 is the actual. This is a formal parameter, okay? Keep that in your mind. So method overloading means that multiple methods in the same class can have the same name, but with different parameters. I just showed you. Okay? So when the parameter is passed to the method, it is called an argument. It is called an argument. Okay, so you see here, my method is an overloaded method. It's a my method. You see the return type is also different here. Okay, this is the parameter list. They are different, but we really do not consider the return type as the method signature. Okay, you see in my slide, we said that the return type and the exception list are not part of the signature. Okay, but you see the difference is that the parameter list is different here. All right, move on. These are two examples. It's a overloaded method. So you see both are get sum. This pass in is integer, this pass in the double, and they return this. Okay. So this is called a method overload. How to call a method? How to call a method? You see here, in my class, I have the method getSum. GetSum. How do I use getSum? You need to create an instance of the class first, and then call the method. You can call the method as many times as you need. Okay? So for us, okay? So let me say, first Java. Do I have to get some method here? No. So let me just see if I have another one here. First Java. Okay, you see I have a get some method. All right, so how do I use it? I can just say get some 3, 4. And I do have the method here. Get some. But you see, when I use it, I have a problem. All right. So now I can explain a little bit clear. So you see, if the method does not have a static, then you have to create an instance to use it. What is the instance? So let me show you the code here. Let me give you this code if you have the class there. If you do not, okay? Let me replace this code here. You see, I needed to create an instance of my class. This class called first Java. So I need to create an instance called my class. And it is of type first Java. And then I create a new instance. I use the keyword new. And now you see, I use the instance and then I put the dot here. So I want you to pay attention to this one. If I put a dot here, you see I have a list of the methods that are available for me to use. Get some is one of it. So that's why I use it. So now I want you to have this concept. So when you have a method, this method is in the class. So when you create an instance of that class, then you can use its method. So that's how we use it here. How we use it here. Right? So this is the instance name, and then I call its function. So when you say static, that means this is a class level method. So all the instances of this class share the same method here. If you do not have static keyword here, it means it's an instance method. You have to create an instance, then you can use it. So let me show you, okay? So if I wanted to use method here, I will just say method, and then I will say hello. Okay. All right. And then you see it works. Because you have the static here. Static means it's class level. All the instances share the same one. So be very careful if you use the static keyword. So if you create a variable using static, then one instance change it, it's visible to all other instances. You do not have your own copy because you share this copy, you share this instance, this one with other instances. So if you do a modification, you need to be aware that's desired. If not, it will cause problem in other calculation because other method may also use this variable. And then now you change its value and It causes trouble there. Okay. All right. So this is how you use the method when you have one. Let me pause here and then ask you if you have an issue, have a problem, have a question. What does this make sense to you? Does this make sense to you, Jeff?
Yeah.
All right. Erin, does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's move on. All right. So in your method, for some methods, and you will see 3 dots in the parameter. 3 dots in the following method parameter list means that 0 or more string objects or an array of them may be passed as arguments for that method. Okay? If you say string 3 dots or say int 3 dots, that means you have more integers passed in. You may have none. Okay? String, then you have more strings passed in. You may have none. Okay? So let me show you this one. And I want you to go do some reading here. Spend 2 minutes to read this. All right, come back. So just understand the 3 dots there means you have 0 or more arguments passed in of that same type. All right, so let's move on. So arguments that get the 3 dots must be the last one in the method signature. So my method int I string 3 dot strings is okay. But my method string 3 dots strings and the int I is not okay. Because if you put it in the very beginning, and how can I know this one? You could have 0, you could have 3, you could have 4. Then I really do not know if this is the second parameter or not, right? So if you put in the last, I know the first 4 will be the value for the first 4 parameters. And then you have 5 to 7, I know 5, 6, 7 are for parameter 5 because it could be an array, right? Okay, just remember that. Now let me go to an excess. So write a method to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. It takes in a double value and returns a double value. Call this method twice with 2 different values. So go back to your Java class and just create a method. Okay, then in your main method, you call it, you need to use this thing. You need to create an instance of it. And then you use the method, okay? And pass in values, do it twice, see what you get. All right, so let me give you 10 minutes to do it. How to create a method. Then I will ask you to show it to me one by one. If you finished, you can raise your hand. Anyone finished? Ryan, you finished?
Not yet.
All right, I need to check your work. So let me stop sharing. So let me ask you, who has finished? Nobody? So then I wanted to see how far have you got? So Claire, how far have you got?
I wrote the method, but my thing keeps like underlining the method name. I don't know why.
Can you share it? So let's work together. Okay. So you put a method within another method, right? You see, len21 is a method, it has not finished yet. So can you take your len25 and the len22 up to len27, copy it and just cut it. Okay, and then move out. So now you scroll down. Let me see what you have. Yeah, put it there. Yes. So let me see. Oh, I think that should be good. Okay, can you scroll down to the bottom? You already scrolled down to the bottom. Okay, so that means you need to put the braces on lens 319. 319, the braces you need to put it in the bottom. No, remove that one. Yeah, remove that one, put it in the last, and that should be good because the last braces close the class. Okay, your method looks very good. Okay, looks very good, and you follow You just follow the convention. And the first character is lowercase. Very good. And then the word is a capital one. All right. So then now can you call it using this one? I want you not to use static, but for this one, you can use static because it's okay. It doesn't make any change. You lose your main method, right? I don't say that you have the main method anymore. Looks like you don't have that. You scroll down a little bit more. Okay, you don't have this code. Okay, let me just help you on this. So can you just change, go to the top. All right, so you just close this one, 921 in the 924, put in braces there, closing braces. Okay, should be fine. All right, so starting 925, type in the public void main, and then parentheses, and the string area string, and then a square bracket, yeah, and then args, args, and then put the braces there and the braces closing. So now put your code in between. Oh, I see you have that main method over there. Okay, you need to remove those. Remove 921 to 924. You make that and then okay, now you're good. So now you just need to say, because you make it a static one, you just use 2 series.
Wait, what?
You just use system dot out print 9, right? System dot out print 9, error, yeah. And then in the parentheses, you call your method. Your method is the 2 series, right? Yeah, just give it a number. Yes. And then call it again, use a different number. Just make a copy of this one. Yeah. Run it. Then you will get it. With hold on, find out the main class. Did you have an import there? Can you expand your import? Let me see what problem there. Okay, can you click on the red flag on the right? You see that, right? Why you have those? On the you move your mouse to right. So there you see the scroll bar, right? So the vertical scroll bar, you see in the red flag is there, and click on it, it will bring you there. Okay, so yeah, you take in that process. Now it should be good. Could not find the main class. You even do not use it. Okay, can you open your module -info.java on the left panel? The mod, yeah. Can you double click on that one? A module info Java. You don't have that in it. That's okay. So where did you use the homework cell? Can you Yeah, do not see you have that in it, right? Or package. Well, you are in this system, right? It's not that package. Where's this class reside in?
Wait, I think I might be running the wrong one.
You are running this one, but you say you are in the wrong package, right? If you scroll to the top. You see your package name is com.le.stem, but I do not see your class in that one. Do you have that? Oh, okay, it's there. All right. You do not have the cell. Oh, okay, cell. Weird. Okay, the only thing I think I can think of is that you just remove module -info.java. Can you remove it on the left panel? Left panel. Yeah, down you see module info. Just right click and delete it. And now try to run it. So I do not see you have this. Why you? Weird. You even do not have the home. Okay, put a static there. Okay. All right. Okay. As you see this example, so you can create a method, then you can use it. If you use a static, then you can directly use it in your class. Thank you. I hope everyone get this, and you can scroll down to your bottom of your method so the class can see it. So that's example, public static double. Okay. So that's exactly what we need. Thank you, Claire. All right. So let me just go finish the following several slides, and that will answer the question Claire asked. Let me go there. Static. So what does static mean? A static member is a member of a class that is not associated with an instance of a class. So that's why you say when Claire use it, it can directly use the name. Okay, if it's not a static, that means it's instance. You have to create an instance of that class, then you can use it. So instead, the member belongs to the class itself. As a result, you can access the static member without first creating a class instance. Without a static, a method is called instance method, because you have to create an object instance first before you can use it. Every individual object created from the class has its own copy of the instance methods of that class. So you are using your own copy, right? All right. So can I get a clear? You help me read the whole slide here.
Static methods cannot be overridden but can be overloaded. Static methods are basically used to access static fields of the class. When you have code that can be shared across all instances of the same class, put that portion of code into static method. The main method in our first Java class is a static method.
Okay. So static methods cannot be overridden. We have not talked about what is overridden. Overridden is that it means if you create a child and then for the same method, okay, it's a static and you want to change the body. Okay, the signature is the same, but you want to change the body of that method, it's not allowed because static cannot be overridden, but it can be overloaded. That means you can have different parameter types, right? So different parameter list, right? So why do we need a static method? So it's used to access static fields of the class. In the static method, you cannot use an instance variable. So what does it mean? Okay, so you say, I have an example here. Let me just check if I have a static method here. You see I have a static method here. So let me just do one thing. Let me just add a variable in this class. You say z equal to 3. That's a static. I can use it. But if I create another variable, I say public int abc equal to 4. Okay. Then now I go to my static method. And I say abc equal to 6. You see, I have a problem here. You see what problem I have? Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field APC because APC must be at the instance level. You have to create an instance of the class, then you can use it because it's not a static variable. It is an instance variable. So in the static method, you cannot, because you do not have to create an instance, you can use this method, count character. But now you put an instance variable there, you cause the conflict. So that is why. So static actually is a very profound keyword here. So thank you, Claire, for asking that. So I wanted you guys now remember it and make it clear in your mind what does static mean. And I think in the AP computer science test, they will test you this static, okay? All right. So Alex, can you just help me read this paragraph?
Keep this in mind, your change to a static member's value will impact other instances that also use this member. The instance does not use its own copy of that member is at the class level, not instance level. We will discuss this more later on.
Okay, so remember, if you are using a static variable, this static variable is visible to all the instances. If you make a change, it will impact the other instances. Sometimes you really want to do this. Why? Let's say you are a manufacturer. You are manufacture vehicles, and the vehicle has an VIN. It's the PIN is the VIN number, is an identification number for the vehicle. So you really wanted to make it static because I'm the worker. I created this vehicle. I need to give it a number. I change this VIN and put it on my vehicle. And then you wanted to use the VIN for your vehicle. You change it. Okay. So everyone sees the change. So they can increase using their own copy. Okay. So just use that value. So if you change it, then other people knows that it's changed. They will not use yours. They will change it again. So added one to it, added it to another number. So they can use it. Okay. All right. So let me stop here. And if you have a question, you can stay. Or I will return the class back to Miss